He paid his friend to perform his marital duty. See what happened next. Please sit back as we unravel this story of betrayal together. Also like and subscribe for more stories like this. Stay tuned.
I was just about to toss Josh's phone back onto the couch when I saw it. Jimmy's name and the message that made my knees almost give way. She's ovulating today. Want me to come over? For a second, I couldn't breathe. My heart pounded so hard I thought I was going to pass out. The living room suddenly felt like it was spinning. My husband's best friend, my body, my own marriage. I froze, staring at the screen as 100 moments from our marriage came rushing back. Nights when Josh avoided me, mornings when I woke up certain something had happened while I was asleep, my unexplained pregnancies. And now, in just a few words on the screen, the truth had slapped me in the face. When I first met Josh, everyone said I was lucky. He was charming, tall, with a smile that could make you forget your name. People, especially women, were drawn to him. He had this confidence that made you feel safe, like he could handle anything. What I didn't know then was that his confidence had cracks, big ones, and those cracks were about to swallow me whole. We met at a friend's birthday party. He approached me with that smile, and within weeks, I was hooked. He talked about his dreams, his business plans, his close-knit family. I thought he was the kind of man I could build a life with. If someone had told me that my future with him would include betrayal of the worst kind, I would have laughed in their face. Josh once told me his father was old school, but I didn't fully understand until I met Mr. Edwards. He was strict, commanding, and made it clear that family image and legacy came first. A month before Josh proposed, his father gave him an ultimatum. If you want to inherit this company, you must be married by the end of the year. No wife, no inheritance. Josh proposed to me shortly after. I thought it was love. I thought he couldn't wait to make me his wife. I had no idea there was a ticking clock over his head and a company on the line. My wedding day felt like a dream. My friends danced, my parents cried, and Josh looked at me like I was the only woman in the world. But now, looking back, I wonder how much of it was an act. We said our vows, we smiled for the cameras, we kissed in front of everyone, and when the reception ended, I was ready to start my new life. What I didn't know was that new life didn't include the kind of marriage I expected. That night in our hotel suite, I expected romance. I expected him to hold me, kiss me, make me feel like his wife. But instead, Josh claimed he was exhausted from the day. "Let's just sleep, babe," he said with a smile. I was disappointed, but I told myself it was normal. After all, we had a lifetime ahead of us, or so I thought. The first few weeks of marriage were strange. Every night, I'd try to get close to Josh, but there was always an excuse. "Babe, I'm too tired. I have an early meeting tomorrow. My stomach hurts." At first, I thought maybe he just needed time, but weeks turned into months. We had never actually been intimate since the wedding. What confused me most was how I'd wake up some mornings feeling different. I'd noticed signs that a couple had been together, even though I had no memory of it. Josh would always be up before me, acting normal, smiling like nothing happened. I convinced myself I was imagining things. Maybe I had been too sleepy and forgot. Maybe I was overthinking. But deep down, something felt wrong. It was during our 5th month of marriage that I missed my period. I took a test and it was positive. I ran to Josh, expecting joy. He smiled, hugged me, and said, "This is amazing, babe." But there was something in his eyes, Relief, not excitement. I didn't understand it then. I thought maybe I was overanalyzing again. The pregnancy was tough. Josh was supportive in all the practical ways, buying food, attending checkups, but he never seemed connected. When our daughter was born, he held her like she was made of gold. I thought maybe this will bring us closer. I was wrong. After the baby, I hoped our intimacy would improve, but nothing changed. Whenever I tried to talk about it, Josh would shut down the conversation. He'd change the topic, pretend to get a phone call, or suddenly remember an urgent task. The lack of closeness hurt me, but I didn't want to ruin my marriage over it. I stayed silent. Then, 2 years later, I was pregnant again. That time, I was completely confused. How could this happen when we barely even touched each other? I laughed it off in front of my friends, saying maybe I was just lucky. But inside, I was drowning in questions. By our 4th year of marriage, Josh and I were more like roommates than lovers. We took care of the kids, attended family events, smiled in public, but in private, we barely spoke unless it was about bills or the children. He was always busy or tired. He started traveling more for business. Sometimes he'd be gone for days without calling much. I felt lonely, but more than that, I felt invisible. It happened on a rainy Tuesday evening. Josh's phone buzzed while he was in the shower. Normally, I wouldn't touch his phone, but this time the message preview popped up on the screen. It was from Jimmy, Josh's best friend since childhood. The message read, "She's ovulating today. Want me to come over?" My heart stopped. My hand shook as I picked up the phone and read the rest of their conversation. It was all there. For years, he made me fall asleep. It was Jimmy who had been with me. Josh had been arranging it because he couldn't do it himself. The pregnancies, the confusion, everything made sense in that horrible moment. Josh came out of the shower, towel around his waist, smiling like nothing was wrong. I held up his phone. "Who is Jimmy talking about?" I asked, my voice shaking. His smile froze. "Babe, it's not what you think." "Oh, really?" I screamed. "So when he says she's ovulating today, should I come over? He's talking about the neighbor's dog?" He sat down, head in his hands. "Lola, I can explain." But no explanation could justify what I had just read. He finally confessed. When he was a boy, an accident had left him impotent. He didn't realize it until he became a man and couldn't be intimate. Every girlfriend had left him. Then his father's ultimatum came: get married or lose the company. "So you hired your best friend to sleep with me?" I asked, tears streaming down my face. He nodded, avoiding my eyes. "I wanted kids. I wanted you to stay." I felt like the ground had disappeared beneath my feet. What hurt most wasn't just that he lied. It was that my body, my marriage, my children had all been part of a secret arrangement I never agreed to. I had been betrayed twice, by my husband and by the man he called his best friend. I thought about every time Jimmy had smiled at me, every family gathering, every joke we'd shared. I felt sick. Josh's parents came over the next day. Mr. Edwards looked confused as I explained everything. "You mean to tell me Jimmy is the father of my grandchildren?" he asked, his voice breaking. I nodded. He sank into a chair. "This is my fault. I pressured you, Josh. I pushed you into a marriage built on lies." Mrs. Edwards cried quietly in the corner. The room felt heavy with shame. Later that evening, Jimmy showed up. "Lola, I didn't want to hurt you," he said. "Josh begged me. I thought I was helping a friend that is more like a brother to me." "Helping?" I snapped. "Helping would have been telling me the truth, not sneaking into my bed like a thief." He looked down at the floor. "I'm sorry." Sorry didn't erase the years of deceit. That night, I couldn't sleep. I stared at my children's faces and thought about how they would one day learn the truth. Would they still see Josh as their father? Would they blame me? By morning, my mind was made up. I told Josh I wanted a divorce. Josh begged me to stay. He promised to go to counseling, to make things right. "I love you, Lola," he said, tears running down his cheeks. "Please don't take the kids." But love built on lies was no love at all. Before I left, Mr. Edwards asked to speak to me privately. "I destroyed my son's life by forcing him into this. I destroyed yours too. I'm sorry." For the first time, I saw the proud man look small. I moved into a small apartment with the kids. It wasn't fancy, but it was peaceful. For the first time in years, I felt free. I didn't have to question my own reality anymore. Josh still visited the kids. He was a good father in every way except the one that mattered to me: honesty. I let them have their bond, but I kept my distance. Lola left town a few months later. No goodbye, no explanations. I was glad. I didn't want to see his face ever again. Word spread fast in Josh's social circle. People whispered, made their own versions of the story. Some blamed me, others pitied me. I learned to ignore them. My peace was worth more than their opinions. One day, my oldest asked, "Mommy, why don't you live with Daddy anymore?" I smiled sadly. Because sometimes adults can't stay together, but they still love their children. I wasn't ready to tell them the full truth. Not yet. Years later, Josh wrote me a letter. He said he wished he had been honest from the start. He wished he had trusted me enough to tell me the truth. I read it once and put it away. The past couldn't be undone. I learned something important. Sometimes walking away is the only way to save yourself. The pain didn't vanish overnight, but I rebuilt my life piece by piece. My children grew up surrounded by love, even if it wasn't from the marriage I imagined. And as for Josh, his lies cost him everything.